$300,000, and they said, we're not changing it for you, bye. So I can't use them. So the next one we're going to, we tried Mr. Sparky. He's only COD. We can't do that. We have to pay company check. So the next one we have is, there's one more, I can't remember, that starts with an H. So we're trying to get his insurance information today to bring them in to see, but the insurance requirements just kill us. And I got slapped around real good last week because I put the awning up, $275 awning, because we were having that storm coming through, and I was worried because, you know, you can put sandbags, but it gets in the grout and travels inside the clubhouse. So I put the awning up. They had 99%, I got in trouble. So it's, you know better than that, we don't do it. And I understand, the awning was $275. If something happened, they could have sued for millions. And we would have not been covered appropriately. So I'm telling you, it's the amount of time Lisa and I both spend trying to get this insurance under control is amazing. And I think it's a little more difficult where we're located too. People who come out here want to come out and charge us to give us a quote. And you know, we won't, that's not allowed. We will not pay for you to come and give us a quote. So smaller people who can't get the insurance, smaller companies, and some larger companies that either are COD, which we don't do, or the ones that are going to charge us for a quote, are off board. We can't use them. Yes.
Okay, Hometown America is a big company. Why don't they underwrite this insurance themselves?
Yeah, that's something you can take up with corporate. I'm not going to go there. You can write them a letter certainly, and I'll give you the address to the corporate office, and you can ask them about that.
I mean, that'd be a quicker way to get things done if they'd underwrite the policy.
I'm sure there's a reason they don't, or otherwise they've done it, because this is across the United States, all of there. I had to do it in the West. They're very strict. We get audited. We have a big book that we keep insurance in, and they come through. The auditors come through, and I mean, you can't trick them. You can't. See, I called another manager and she said, well, I'd have just charged that on the charge card and then dealt with the auditor next year. Because what those auditors doing, they're looking at what's been paid and what that insurance was. And did you have the insurance when the work was done? So if they look at it and they said, oh, I see your insurance is updated, but it wasn't updated when you had the work done. So then you get dinged on your audit. So they're very, very strict about it. And they're strict because they've had lawsuits. There's a reason. They've had lawsuits. And people will sue for anything nowadays, and you all know that. So they're trying to be cautious. They are trying to be cautious, and I understand that. So, but that's what takes so long. It's grueling, because that's not the only thing I have to work on. I have so many other things that I'm working on in the meantime. So that's the electric. So we're trying to get a new vendor ramped up to find out, and we do have the possibility of a resident who might. Carlos is going to take him out and see if he can tell Carlos what is wrong, so that when we get an electrician in, Carlos can be out there telling him, I don't think that's right. Same thing with the stove, the electric on the stove. The stove is here, nice stove. We had some pre-electric work done. When I ordered the stove from Vulcan, they said, do you want single phase, 240? There were some options. And I said, we had an electrician come out. He said, do single phase, 240 volts. All done for that. Well, when the stove came in, they informed me, because it's an electric commercial stove, and they sell about one every 10 years, because if it's commercial, they're using gas. We don't have that luxury to use gas here. They come in three-phase, and then you have to have an electrician come and take it down to a single phase. So I had the electricians out. I didn't want to use Hawkins because of the mess up in the front. So I called South Bay out, and they looked at it, and they're the ones who said, yeah, we got some work that we have to do. And I said, well, first of all, is it going to be over $1,000? Because that's CapEx. That's another whole layer of approval. And he's the one, I looked at his insurance, and he was off. He had everything, including his, because we have to have workers' comp, we have to have your regular liability, and there are certain minimums that they have to meet. And we have samples that we send to him. Can you meet this? And then we have to have automotive. And he was $300,000 short on his automotive. Which you think that's a lot, but he had some fairly good coverage. He had like $200 or $300. I think we require $500,000. And he was short. And I said, I need you to see, even for this job, can you pull it up and do it for us? He said, no. He said, no, everybody else accepts it, we're not changing it for you guys. So out the door he went. So now we're looking for that electrician to do both look at the front and get the stove up and going. So that's been the delay on that. The doors, you want to talk about the doors?
Yes.
Okay, so when I started this, I had vendors coming out and look at it, and then Gina informed me that the people who did it put it in wrong. And she had just found out that it was a father and son company, and they split up because the son said the father didn't install those right. And the son said, I'm trying to make it right to get your business back. So we will come out and we will install all new doors. So my whole first couple of rounds was worthless because now we're going to go back, we're not going to pay, we're going to go back and have them because they're doing it at no charge, which they should.
They should.
I mean, it's already cost us a lot, so
Yeah,
really,
that's
it's
right.
not at no charge, it's at our inconvenience is what it is. So he came out and looked at everything, they have to rip out all the casing, they have to take the brickwork out, probably 6 bricks back because the elevation is incorrect. It's too close to the door, so water's coming in under the door, down the side because there was no guttering, which is why I put the awning up there. So he said they'd have to order a new gel wind door, and they would be back in about 2 weeks, and that was probably 2 months ago. and they did come back, and the guy came back and he said, well, where's the doors? And I said, well, I didn't order them. You guys were supposed to order them. And he said, well, I thought we were going to use the same doors. And he went and looked at him and he said, oh my God. He said, no, there's been miscommunication. So now they had to go back to Gel Wind to see if they'll guarantee him. And I said, that's your problem. You go deal with that, you get our doors ordered. So they said the doors will take 5 to 6 weeks. We're sitting at 5 weeks today. I called them on Tuesday, I called them on Wednesday, and I called them yesterday to find out where the doors are.
Where'd
So-
you order them from?
What's that?
Where did you order them from?
I didn't order them.
Oh.
They're ordering. So, you know, he'll probably just get so tired of hearing from me, he'll just get the dang doors and come put them in himself because I just keep calling. I'll just leave a message, I send emails. So those are the things I'm working on. Every project I'm doing is multiple layers. It's getting approvals, and then there's the occasional time that I forgot to put something in, and Gina will say, return it back to me. If it's a capital expenditure, you know, you're trying to get everything in there that you need, and she reviews those on Fridays. So it's not like every day she's going in and looking at capital expenditures with your request. She's looking at it once a week at best. So if I've made a mistake, it comes back to me and it doesn't get looked at again for another week. Unless I say to her, it's an emergency, Gina, can you please go in and look at it? But you have to understand, she's traveling 4 out of 5 days a week. So she's on the road, going to different properties. So she doesn't always have the access, you know, she can do quick emails, but to go in and pull up some of our systems is a little bit harder. Plus, when you visit a property, that manager and those employees would want her attention. So it's not fair, and I would expect the same thing. When she comes to my property, I don't want other managers calling her and taking up her time. I want her time with this property. So that's how that works. So, and you know, there's what, 13 or 14 properties now in Florida, so we're building. Hometown is buying. They've bought a lot in California. My goodness, California is going to town. And they'll look in Florida. What's that?
I said I would not live in Galveston.
Oh, I would. I have. I would. It's very nice. I love it. No humidity. No mosquitoes. Yes, ma'am.
No,
A couple weekends ago, we had a gentleman leave his sailboat in the middle of Sweet Orange Drive for 4 days.
Yeah.
Whom did we call to report that?
You called the office, and I did have a discussion with him, and he went off on me. And I said, okay, move the boat. Move the boat. And he said, okay, so I'm going to put it back in storage and bring it right back. And I said, don't do that, please, stop it. And he did finally say, okay. So, no, you call the office.
We can leave a message and you leave the phone.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
It was not an emergency, but it was in a way for the fire rescue truck had to come in here. That was good.
Yeah.
And I did mention to that, and he did say, no, that's not true. And I just said, look, I'm not going to argue with you. You can't do it, please. And once I did that, he said, you know, okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So
So
just,
now we don't.
yeah. But it'll happen again, I'm sure. We'll have to ask somebody else to do it. I'm also looking at getting new blinds in here, and I think I'm going to do white. Because they have to be closed so much because of the sun, I don't like the real dark. Does anybody have an opinion on that? I'm probably going to do it anyway, but I'll take your opinion. I just think the white would look better. I'm not sure why we have dark brown here when all the casing's white and, yes, anybody?
It gives it contrast.
That's true. Yeah, it could give it contrast, but it does make it warmer because they absorb the heat. Yes,
Would the verticals be better?
I don't think so.
They're cleaner.
They're cleaner?
Yeah,
They're
you
cleaner
wouldn't have to
all
dust
over.
them as much.
Well, have they dusted them all?
I don't know, but I know I don't have to dust mine very often.
Which, I'm glad you brought that up, let me just throw this in there. So you know we have a new part-time housekeeping maintenance man, Larry, and he has just been a treasure for us. We're very, very excited to have him. I'm just briefly going to touch on the last young man who's very good, but I couldn't set a time for him to come in that he'd be on time. We started at 8, he couldn't be here. I said, let's go 8:30, he couldn't be here. We did 9 o'clock, he couldn't be here. And finally, I just said, you're an adult, it's not fair to the rest of the team for you to continue to come in. He was coming at 8, 9:10, 9:20. I'm late because it rained, and I said, it's raining for all of us. Come on. I know. Nice young man. But, we're going to have a bit of a dig out time here. We're probably going to focus very a lot on landscape right now because we've got a lot to do. And speaking of landscape, I'll just make this real quick. One of the bids I'm going to put in for next year is to tear out all of this old landscaping up front and have a landscaper come in and do all new landscaping. We took out the big cactus, I don't know if you noticed. It was actually pushing up against the gutters, and these old pine things are like for up north. They're not very tropical, so, yes.
Is there any news at all on the gate? The gates aren't working.
Yes, that is in the system as a CapEx. It has been approved. We have to have it checked for half of the amount, which they didn't tell me up front. So I have to go back in the system, and I'll do that today because Gina will be there, or maybe I already have, and order half the amount, which is close to $8,000, to fix those gates, because they're all new operators inside of them. And those operators are, from what we know, the original ones, so they're old. Those are old operators. So I would say we're 2 weeks out. They have to order them. He said it takes 3 to 4 days to order them from the company. Now, when I say this, you have to understand, once he goes to order them, he may call me and say, well, they're out of stock, so now we're waiting for the manufacturer. I don't know. I'm telling you what we know today, but understand this stuff can change. It's just like when we ask for a capital improvement. And I go in, I'll start in August putting in bids for different things I want for the property. And I have to label them high, medium, or low, which I don't even know why they have low. If it's low, why would you even bother doing it, So I don't even do low, I do high and medium. High would be things like the lift station, any kind of infrastructure, that would be high. And then under that would follow things that we could improve on with the amenities. So and this is across the board, and this is with other properties I've worked on, you put CapEx in, you tell them how much it is, and then they'll look at it in January, and they're pretty quick. About that second week of January, they come back and say, yep, this all looks good, you're good to go. Now, that just says for that moment, then you have to go in and actually do the project in the system. And there's lots of information you have to put in. And they could deny it. They could say, no, we have now found that you have, for instance, let's say in your water treatment plant, we just found out you're going to have to do a $10,000 upgrade in there. So this project for your amenities is going to sit because now we got to do this. Maybe mandated by the county. We don't know. So what I'm saying is that CapEx can change. It's just like I had to tell Gina, when I told her about the gates, I said, I have no money in CapEx, it's all gone. She has to go to another property, and they pulled $8,000 from Tanglewood for our property. But do you know what that means? That means that they could do the same thing. So that means if we're doing, so in theory, do your CapEx real quick in January as fast as you can, so you don't have any money left, and then they can't take it. But sometimes that doesn't happen. But it's a sharing kind of thing. If there is a big emergency and they look at those gates as being highly important, they are going to pull it from another community. So I called Tammy and thanked her. She said, okay, but be ready next year.
Now, let me ask you a
Yes, ma'am.
question, Kathy. All of these things that are being done, is that going to be past dues next year?
Is it gonna be what, I'm sorry?
Pass-through. I mean, are we gonna pay for this? Are they gonna raise up the rent so that
Well,
we
of
pay
course
for
they
all
are.
this stuff?
Well, rents will always go up. Rents
I know,
will increase.
you know, they're
Do you
allowed to
mean
go
over and
a certain-
above?
Yeah, because
Well,
of all the changes and all
I
the
can only
things.
tell you what I know, and I've heard nothing of that. I've heard nothing said that's attached that, well, you've spent so much, we're gonna have to raise the rent more.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, no. And I'm over in my operation budget by $5,000.
Didn't they know all this stuff when they bought this place? They
Of
knew it
course,
was gonna
of course.
cost.
Hometown's very successful. Yes. They know. They know.
And if they're buying other properties, why buy other properties when they can't fix up what they've got?
Well, you know, that's relatively, we've got to look at what they're saying is fix up. I understand from your side where it's coming from, but there's got to be kind of a meet in the middle with that. We have already put a lot of money into this year, into this
Oh,
property.
I understand, because the kitchen, but we really don't care about the kitchen.
Well, and that's unfortunate to even hear that. It's really sad because, we work really hard to provide something nice for you and then to hear, well, we don't care. You're not the only one that said that to me. Somebody said, why were you even bothering the stove?
Because it wasn't used.
Right, that's what somebody said. Why is it even
It
used?
has been used for a long time in the kitchen, that stove, in the thing. It has been used for a long time.
Well, okay, so even,
It has
hold on
been
just a
used
second,
for a
hold
long
on.
time.
So you can see what I'm up against, okay, right here. Here's where,
Nothing personal.
no, it's not. I'm not taking it personal. I'm just telling you that sometimes it's hard for me to, or any manager, we do the best we can. And as we work together, we will be able to get more for the property. If you work against the manager and you work against Hometown, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a struggle. If we work together, because I want what's best for the property as well, but I have to follow the rules of Hometown. I'm bound by that. Yes, sir.
When we moved in here 6 years ago, one of the main things that attracted us to this property was everything the manager so neatly, and the front wall said Little Manatee Springs, Florida's best kept secret. I mean, that really attracted us, and I've talked to other people and it attracted them. And other than the fact that we still need some trees manicured around here,
I've got a 10 o'clock appointment with Valley Crest.
that slogan out there on the wall really brought people in.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it was nice. Hometown chose not to do it. So if that's why you're living here, because of that, I just don't know what to tell you. Because there's going to be some things as the company that they're going to make. And you can certainly voice your opinion that that's too bad. What I would suggest as residents, you get together some ideas. How would you like it to be? Do you guys know somebody who could do a mural on it? Because I'll take that to Gina and say, hey, we need to put this back in. It's important to the residents here. She'll listen to
We don't
that.
need a mural. I don't think we need a mural, but.
But I mean hand scripted on there, because those were styrofoam letters. That's why we couldn't save them. When I went out to look at them, they were styrofoam and I pushed on them and they were all cracked. and-
When you knocked it off the wall with a tar.
Yeah,
Just one letter. Could we paint the wall a prettier color?
no,
That has to be that gray?
yeah. That came from Gina in corporate, yes, yes.
I don't find that very welcome.
I know, I hear you. Well, what we're, Carlos and I think about doing, I know that we got a little photoshopped picture of one where they took painted the white pillars. And Gina had said no. So Carlos and I thought we would go way over the side and paint one, and then when she comes, just take her over and say, I can paint it right back if you don't like it. But look at this, Gina, it adds some dimension. Because she just wanted the caps painted, so we painted the caps a charcoal gray. But they're too
hardly see
small. No, no.
Somebody
you
had to
can't.
point that out to me.
Right, and so I think it'd be really pretty if the columns were painted white. I think it would give it more three-dimensional depth, So Carlos and I will do that, okay? I will go out and we will paint one of those columns and see if Gina likes it and gives us her approval. I cannot go against a directive from a regional,
Why does she have so much?
Yeah,
Why
why
does
doesn't
she have to say?
She doesn't live here.
because she's a regional manager. And what she is doing is bringing forth what the company wants. They wanted that gray is from our sign.
Oh, okay.
That's where that came from.
Who's above her?
It would, you'll always have to go through her to get anywhere. You'll actually go to a regional assistant. This is how it works. You can send whatever you want to Chicago, and they will send it right back to the regional. It'll go to the regional assistant. She will review it, see what needs to be done. Letters that go to Chicago come right to the regional, which come directly to me. They say, this person wrote this, how do you want to respond, and can you give me your side of it? I give her my side, then they respond.
Kathy,
Yes,
I'm the one that did the Photoshop of the different colored columns, and it really looks good. And I went online to all the communities that Hometown America has in Florida, and actually went to Google Maps and went to those properties, and 99% of them have contrasting colors on their walls. So we're not asking for something that they're not doing already. And I suggested that to Gina on that online survey she sent out. But I'm going to send her some pictures anyway. But it's not uncommon. Most of the properties, if they have a concrete wall like we do, most of them are going with these old plastic walls that you
right,
see.
yeah.
But the ones that have the concrete walls, they have contrasting colors on their columns, and it looks a lot better.
Kathy, you just mentioned something. You said, this gentleman was talking about the letters on the wall, and you said, if that's the reason you're living in here. I'm going to tell you, the reason we came in here is because it was appealing to us.
I understand.
And now, you know, it's like, it's going backward. Now, if I would go back this place to live again, I would say, well, no, because, you know, the trees were manicured in the front, you know, everything was looking
Trees
good.
is, let's take the trees out, because we've now got some resolve on that. So we're working on that,
No,
but
but
it's
I'm
not
just
gonna be
telling you
done.
as
But
a
I
whole.
understand what you're saying. Part of having a landscaper come in and give me a price is doing the front as well. A lot of the stuff here is old and overgrown, and it just needs to be refreshed. It really does.
That's
So,
what I said.
I understand that.
That's why,
I do, and I
that's why
appreciate
we,
that. Right.
we came in because it was appealing, you know.
Right.
You look at this little, you know, little secret place.
And I know, because I'll be right with you. Well, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
But on that same subject, it's the houses that are for sale that look the crappiest, because
right.
all the yards have all these friggin' weeds in it, and it's like, you know, we are supposed to keep up our own yards if we live here, but all these houses for sale, if you just go by them, it looks like trash was there.
Yeah,
You know,
and I
it
will
looks
agree with
horrible.
you.
It
Yeah.
looks horrible.
Yeah.
It's been months and months and months. It's not something new. It's been going on for a couple years now, and it's like they have to be kept up, or it brings all of us, it makes us all of us.
You're
feel
right,
like we live
it
in a
does,
really
you're right, it
bad
does.
place.
And I will start serving, was there something else?
Just the ones for sale, it's residents also that are living here.
Well,
That's right.
I'm probably gonna pick up as soon as I can, get the gates done, get the doors done, get the stove done. In between that, I will get out and start serving reminders. And these friendly reminders say friendly reminder, but trust me, we put those in the file, and there's only so many friendly reminders we give, and then we'll start legal action. Because if it's a rule violation, I mean, you know, we don't go up and say, you know, we're gonna give you a 7-day notice. Is there something wrong?
No, there's a lot of like those violations, so I'm just saying. And is Pinch a Penny still cleaning our pool?
I'm sorry?
Pinch a Penny, are they still taking care of the pool? Who's
They
doing
haven't
our
taken
pool
care of the
right
pool since
now?
I've been here.
Yeah, somebody was coming in and doing chemicals.
Yeah, but it's not Pinch a Penny.
Okay. Are they, anyway, the pool's dirty, and the pool also
Slimy
feels
on the
slimy
bottom.
on the bottom.
We're
so-
buying a pool vacuum, but I will call him and tell him.
Because
that
it's
it
just
feels-
not been cleaned.
Might be all the
It's been
oils.
really kind of bad for a
Okay.
while, so thank you.
The gym used to be that size.
Would it be possible somehow for someone else from corporate to come and attend one of these meetings in the future?
Yes,
If they're making the decisions that
Yes.
apply to
That's what
everyone.
I'm
yes,
saying.
we can ask Gina. I wouldn't do coffee and donuts, but maybe your resident meeting.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep,
Yep.
yeah, we can, I'll request that, yes.
When they work on the gates, will our clickers still work?
They will.
What's the latest on the sewage work schedule? What's the benefit going to be?
Well, we have a gopher turtle that has to be, so now, whatever, you know, government agency is involved now, it has to be relocated. So now they're a protected species, so.
Yeah.
So he's going, and actually we found 2 back within those gates, so. So they're gonna have to be removed and taken, and they said it's 10 days to 6 weeks. It's whenever this agency will move on it. That's.
Are there eggs back there?
What's that?
Do they have eggs back
Don't have
there?
anything there.
They have,
Anybody else over here?
No.
No? Good over here? Yes.
What about the streetlights that are always out on certain streets?
Well, we've tried on this one back here. We were told it belonged to Peace River.
No, that's not the ones I'm talking about the house
Residential,
ones.
the house
The
one.
residential
Oh, the
lights.
house ones.
You
Are
go
the
down
people?
one in line and it's dark as all get out.
Okay, so when we do our go-arounds, if any of you know at night who's out, if you just drop a little note, like, and put yard light. So we know it's not street light, put yard lights out, and then we'll address it. I'll send them notices or call them.
I paid for somebody to fix mine, and it's out again. And
Mine
I'm
is
not
too.
gonna
Mine
pay
is going out.
anybody
It's
again
electrical.
to do it.
So it's on an electrical one. Okay.
Gators tried to. That is
What's that?
I wonder if Peace River will come fix those.
Oh, I doubt it. I think they're not a utility. I think you have to do an electrician. What else? Anything else? I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here a little bit.
Kathy, one thing, you talk about security here in the building. And I noticed that you were doing right up there, you said something about security.
Well, I didn't. I think you were maybe putting something out because I didn't put anything.
I
about
didn't hear what he said.
About security.
Well, he's
locking the
talking
building.
about, are you talking about, are you talking about locking the buildings?
You had presented a letter, I think, it was from
I must
JT.
be having,
Oh, see, that's what happens when you hold.
that's right.
It's from JT, actually.
There you
There's
go.
a list of about 8 things on there, and the last of the 8 things was security.
It's not,
Locking of the buildings.
right,
After the evening activities.
right. I've got to go back to your prospectus, but I believe I read somewhere in your prospectus that the buildings were to be locked at 10 o'clock.
But who's responsible?
Well, it will be us, okay? But the only thing we have to do, we have to work together because there may be events that go longer than 10 o'clock in here. And then we'd have to assign someone a key to lock it up when they're done and drop it in the drop box at the office. But I did have a resident come in, very upset, and he wanted to know if we were going to pass out keys to everybody. And I said, what do you mean pass out keys? He said, every resident should have a key.
It's not uncommon.
Everybody should have a key to this?
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
That was probably the
We-
person
we
that
go
stole the
around-
sauce for the spaghetti.
There you go.
We visit a lot of camping areas, a lot of resident areas like this, right? And it's not uncommon for the security to come in and close the buildings up at night, every night.
Right.
After the activities or scheduled activities.
Right.
They usually have a maintenance man that does this. I don't believe the keys passed around to the different people.
No.
Except the host or the hostess if they have an event.
Right.
But it's not uncommon, it's very common practice.
Absolutely, every property I worked at has done it.
Yeah.
When I got here, I asked, and it was, they've never been locked. So, again, I need to look at the prospectus.
Thievery then too.
What's that? I'm sorry.
And we also had a lot of people.
Right, and you know, I bought a new TV for your workout room, a bigger one, we put it in the center, it's very nice.
I just didn't know how to operate it.
Well, that's because people keep flipping the wrong thing, so I'm gonna put a little note on there, what you need to do. I know. People are turning the box off, all you need to do is hit the on button.
Yeah.
That's it, just hit the on button.
And it was done. Now, it doesn't have anything to do, I was just, because I'm walking in the morning and I just noticed by Coleman's house, you know, the old house
Yes.
on the corner, there's some kind of, I don't know if it's something, a sewer or whatever, there's a little panel around there and that has fallen off, so it's really not very good. I don't think it would take very much, you know, for Carlos to go and just put it back. And,
Well, we'll probably just
It doesn't
do it.
need- it doesn't-
It's that lattice work around it, right?
Yes, that lattice,
Yeah, I
the
know what
lattice
you
is
mean.
down.
And that house has sold to a really nice couple, so, and they're a younger retired couple, and he has retired, he owns a cement company, so they'll make that house a little jewel, they have lots of plans for it. But I want to go back, you're absolutely right, and we're working on how we're going to do that. Because I can do it when I'm here through the week, I just have to set the alarm and get up at 10 o'clock at night, because I'm in bed at 8. But that's okay, I can get up and schlep over and get everything locked up. And then I'm probably gonna need somebody's help on the weekend to do it. But I think it's the right thing to do and the safe thing to do. Because I had it happen, I see a no back here, and what is your
Locking
complaint?
the buildings accomplishes nothing.
And why would you say that?
They locked that one.
Why do you say that?
And
Yeah.
things disappear out of there. And they had keys for it.
That's
Well,
It may make it harder for them. Put in a security camera and find out who's doing it.
Well, if you can't see them, if you
If you
can't
have
really
a
see
security
them.
camera, you can see it.
So your idea is to put a security camera up and wait till it happens and try to catch them rather than take precaution and try to keep it from happening.
It's not gonna stop nothing.
Well,
What's the reason there was so much stealing going on?
once again, this is where
I'll
I
get a big German Shepherd dog and
No,
sit right out.
that's one of the things, the 25-pound weight limit, that's by
I
far.
think what you're gonna find is everybody in here has their priorities.
Yes.
Well, I want the kitchen done, I want this done, I want that done, and everybody has a different priority. And you're not gonna be able to take care of all of them at one time, so it's just gonna be a matter of patience and waiting it out.
I think, what I'm gonna do is how I'm gonna settle this about locking up. If the prospectus says the buildings are locked at 10, they're gonna be locked.
That's right.
That's gonna be the end of it, because I have to go by the rules of the prospectus. So,
Especially now with the games.
right, exactly. And I would venture to say that Gina would be really upset if we come in and the stove's gone. Because we didn't lock the building.
You know,
Who else?
Well, like if we're having a dance or something, obviously we're not out of here by 10 o'clock maybe.
And I addressed
That would be
that.
a
Let me repeat what I said. Yes, I said if you have an event here that's longer than 10 o'clock, we can assign somebody that will be responsible to lock up, and they can put the key in the drop box in the door. So that's not a problem.
Gene, a lot of,
Kathy, that's okay.
a lot of the frustration with the kitchen has been, those of us who've cooked and baked for a long time, it was just not a good design. It
Let's
was
just,
just
yeah.
screwy.
Yeah.
It was screwy. It was really hard to work in there, and most of us just said, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, no matter what is said about the stove coming in, I think it'll be nice to use, and I think for those who do use it, they will appreciate it. So that's all
As
I'm
long
going to
as
say.
they clean up after themselves.
Yes, well, that's just another whole thing, so.
Another can of worms.
Yeah, right.
When's the courts out there? Are they going to be addressed?
Shuffleboard.
The
Oh,
shuffleboard.
they're back in, I just got a bid from 90 to redo them, totally redo them. Because what they had in the system, I think from Diane,
Yes.
was it just a resurface. It doesn't really do anything, they need to be totally redone, and all new benches. Oh, that's gonna be, yeah, those benches are dangerous, some of them will be removed. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up though. We did our very best to do what we could with the horrible picnic tables that we have. We power washed them, we let them dry, we sanded them down and put some blue paint on, so at least, and it's hometown blue, because we were like, well, what color should we paint them? And I said, well, we better pick a hometown color. And so we picked hometown blue. So this is what we have for now. That'll be another CapEx project, because those picnic tables are expensive. We tried to unbolt them, and yeah, Carlos was working, and they're so rusted and in such poor shape. Stuff was breaking off of it, the frame was breaking. So we're just gonna try to do with for the rest of the year, and then put in we'll go around and count. It looks like we probably need about 8 to 10 new picnic tables to set around.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we will we'll do the end of July and kind of then see if that's enough for everybody. We could go to every other week. I'll be with you just a second. And I do appreciate all that came. I hope more and more will come.
It'll be nice when the winter residents come back too.
I'm sorry?
When the winter residents come back, continue this. so
Oh,
they-
yes, yeah, it'll be continued. Yeah. Anybody else, any last? Yes.
I'm having a problem running when you park your boats and trailers. For the third time, I've had damage done by people cutting the grass.
Now, when you say people cutting grass, did you happen to see was it our contracted vendor?
Whoever's cutting the grass, what they have is a big mower, like we just saw go by here, they go pretty fast. And this time, they ran into my truck. I had company come in over the weekend, put my truck down there, so the company got parked.
Right.
I come back, and it's been...
Well, first of all, I'm sorry.
But
Did
it's
you
the
report
third-
it? Did you report it to the office?
No, I haven't.
Well, okay.
But do
Well,
they have insurance or anything to cover that?
Well, we just have to look. I mean, we have to see. We have to be reasonable with it. You know, so what I would suggest for you, again, I'm sorry that that's happened, why don't you come in and talk to me, and let's write out a comment form and see where we're at with this. And then I can address it. Which I want to remind you, if there's something going on, call the office. I can't tell you how many times people will see me walking down, oh, 3 weeks ago, there were people in here in cars parked back in RV, and they were out there, and I'm like, well, did you call the police? No. And I'm like, well, what is it you want me to do now? Because they're not there. I mean, we got to work together. We got to work together. If you see something suspicious, call the police. Call, if you're concerned about calling the police, call the maintenance emergency. Carlos will call you back, and he can make a decision about what to do. But you got to call us. We can't fix it if we don't know it.
Right.
So just come on in when you have a minute, and let's sit down and talk about it. Yes.
I want to thank you for the stop signs.
Okay.
yeah.
People are still speeding
Yes.
on
Oh, yeah.
Hamlin.
Oh, that's true.
I almost got hit with my dogs the other day. So now I'm going to put a barrel out there. The next time that person goes by, I'm going to roll it out in front of them.
That's on you.
I sat on my front porch yesterday afternoon, and you put that new sign right there on the curve, and I counted 12 cars coming through there. One of them stopped, one of them slowed down, and the other 10 like it wasn't even there.
So here's how this is going to work. I can't sit out there and monitor.
Right.
If you see somebody, tell me who it is.
Okay.
I'll call them with a friendly reminder saying, you know, we put in 18 new stop. Is it 18, Carlos, or 20?
18.
18 new stop signs. We have a few more to go. Please be aware of them. Then, if it happens again, they'll get a written notice, and the third time they'll get a legal notice. But I can't, you know, just to say in general, gosh, they're speeding through here, what are you going to do about it? Unless I see them and know who it is. Because trust me, if I say, hey, stop doing that, the ones that are doing it aren't going to stop.
Right.
And that goes for the golf carts too.
It does, yes.
You know, somebody just ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all the golf
We
carts have
almost-
stopped going that way.
Maybe
They
someone aware that they're there. Can you put a
That's
blurb
funny.
in the newsletter?
Cars
What?
go,
Saying what?
golf carts
Saying,
stop.
be
I'm gonna
aware
take
that
one
there's
more
new stop
question.
signs
Hang on, let me
up.
finish.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people.
But you know, for the
don't
last
that.
5 or 6 months, I've been pounding the speeding in the park, and it hasn't done any good whatsoever. The same people come through the same
That's right.
time.
Those individuals need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed with a friendly reminder first, and then we'll start with legal notices. Because when it's a legal notice, and our attorneys make these forms up, and at the bottom it says govern yourself accordingly, and it's got all the laws in there for the state, that gets their attention. And they can be evicted on a rule violation. Yes, you can. Now, it's not just one, and you have to have a lot of documentation. I called them on this day. I gave them a friendly reminder. I gave them a second friendly reminder. I gave them a first legal notice. I gave them a second legal notice. And you go to court and you set that all up, and the judge will say, that's it, you're out. But unfortunately, it takes to getting oftentimes to the legal, and then they're like, well, I don't like the manager, and she's a you-know-what, because she gave me a legal notice. But, you have to do what's best and what's right and what's within the rules for everybody. Yes, ma'am.
The question, well, one of the things with the stop signs that perhaps when the newsletter's put out, that it can be a reminder.
I just said that.
Right.
Yeah,
new
Tracy
stop-
does the
Because
newsletter.
I know down at the end of Hamlin going toward the RV place, you really don't see that and people don't realize it's there and just go right on through. So that might be, just a notice saying, hey.
And there's probably a couple of notices that would probably be good to either put in every time or rotate them. Pick up after your dog, keep your dog on a leash, stop at the stop signs, obey the 12-mile-an-hour speed limit, and probably to put those, just keep rotating them, But I will tell you, doing this for 11 years, the same people who will do it will continue to do it until the hammer comes down. They just think it doesn't apply to them. Occasionally when you call on those friendly notices, they'll say, oh, you're right, I've kind of skated through them, and they'll abide. It's just like I had to call a resident about stuff, and I do call people about the amount of stuff creeping out into the front and down the driveway. Well, what do you mean? I said, really? And then he goes, well, okay. I said, you can't even shut your garage door. You need to get stuff back in. And sometimes it just takes a friendly reminder. You know, they know somebody's watching and it's please. But then you'll have the hardcore who they just don't want to do it. But like I said, when it gets to a legal notice, they usually do it.
Just the last thing before we leave.
Yes.
We know that behind, not everybody is concerned, but the one that has their houses facing the back facing the park, the state park, they've been surveying
Yes.
and putting posts. Now, the other day, they came in and cleaned all outside of the gate of that fence. Did you hear anything about, are they gonna put up, they're gonna move
No,
the fence?
the first I heard of it was the day the guy came in to do the surveying, and he wanted permission, I think, to go on some of the property. And I said, who are you? And he
Yeah.
told me who he was, and I said, well, do you have a letter or anything? He said the state has ordered up their company to survey. And I said, well, I need a letter or something. Oh, he got so mad, he left. And so I had to call the supervisor and say, you know, that's really unfair. And to just come in on our property in an age-qualified community and not even let the manager know ahead of time, because I could have sent out a letter saying, hey, you know, this park has ordered the state to come in and start. Nope, didn't. He said, we don't have to give you that. I said, I know, because you're the state, you don't have to. But I don't know anything other. I asked
We can't take the stake down.
Sometimes they put all that brush back as a fire protection.
Yeah,
Because we've had fire come right up to
They
the,
did more
right
than
up
that
to the
this
fence.
time. They did more than that.
Did
They
they?
even cut a tree on the other side that was right
Yeah.
behind our fence, right close to the fence, but it was on their side. They cut it down. They cut everything close to the fence.
I'll give him a call today. If
Yeah.
you guys want to, anybody wants to call me this afternoon, I'll let Lisa know as well. I'll call, I forget the gentleman's name, I've got his card, that's the manager of the park, and over there and ask him if they did that for a firewall kind of thing.
Yeah, because they were doing the firewall, but now this has come much close. Everything close to the fence has been cut.
But if it's on their side,
Weed whacking too. They were weed whacking on that side too, all on the fence behind me also.
We've had
So,
fire,
yeah.
we've had a fire come all the way up to the fence. So I think this is a preventative.
But that's the first time
I
I've seen them do it too, since I've been here 8 years.
Yeah,
they've done it
Since they
before.
served
They
all
have
that
With
bad.
weed whacking back there.
No, but with the tractor.
Yeah, they have gone through there several times and cut
That's
everything down.
probably what it is.
I think the state will listen to you. Carol?
Not done it
Yes,
for
they
12
have,
years.
yes, they have.
Carol?
Yes, they have.
Can you say something about that, you called them and got the new fence put in behind your house?
Oh, and I've got to call him about that too.
But they put a new fence in behind Carol's
I used
house.
her as an example.
Yeah,
And said they put it in. So I thought that's why they were coming in to survey, that maybe they were going to put a fence up.
But they really
Because
cleared it out.
We're compromised at the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah.
Listen up. Listen, Carol, pay attention, Carol, please.
Well, when we moved in, the fence behind us was laying down and it was all broken up and it was barbed wire. And it was just all over the place and it was weeds, it was just a mess. So I called the manager of the park and I said, this is a liability issue for us with kids and people and animals coming and tripping over this. She said that it wasn't in a budget that year, this was 3 years ago. But they did have a role in their barn. They would come out and replace that one section from the sewer plant down to the big tree behind the pond. And they did do that then, but she said that they would put it in the budget to replace the rest, but I guess that's not happening. But that's why that got replaced, so it was really, you could walk back there and get this thing tangled up in the barbed wire.
I'm going to have to go because I've got a vendor coming in at 10 o'clock. But again, thank you all for coming. I hope to see you all.